Now that was some great Star Wars. I have spoken. This is the way. It is the creed. Baby Yoda. Hello, fellow followers, and welcome to FanZcene. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, and maybe give the video a like if you are so inclined. I would appreciate it. If not, that's cool too. So today I have for you my review of The Mandalorian Season 1. I gotta be honest, like I said in the opening, this was some great Star Wars. I really enjoyed Season 1 of The Mandalorian. I thought it was a great start to hopefully a great series. I got to give kudos and credit where credit is due to Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Pedro Pascal, and the whole cast and crew involved, and even to George Lucas, because I know George Lucas was actually on the set of The Mandalorian and helped out a little bit, which is more than they allowed him to do with the sequel trilogy, which is neither here nor there. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about The Mandalorian, and I thought it was really good, from the visuals to the directing to the casting to the story. It was great. Great Star Wars. It gave me that old Star Wars feeling again. It reminded me of the original trilogies in so many ways, and I really enjoyed it. So let's get the rundown. Let's go through it, starting with Episode 1. First, we are introduced to the Mandalorian, Mando if you prefer, doing his bounty hunter thing, and he gets the bounty and he takes him back to the Bounty Hunter Guild. We meet Carl Weathers' character, Grief Karga, which he plays beautifully as well. He gives the Mandalorian this job, like off the record job, big time job, for Werner Herzog, who is like former governor Moff of the Empire. So the Mando takes this job, and he's supposed to be tracking down this 50-year-old being, and so he goes to this planet and he meets this character Quill, who is voiced by Nick Nolte. Once again, great casting. Quill is a great character. The whole I Have Spoken thing was awesome. Nick Nolte's voice matched that perfectly. So Quill takes Mando to where the bounty is. Then we meet the battle droid IG-11 shows up, and him and the Mando team up and shoot up all the captures of the bounty, and they get to the bounty, and it's big reveal of a baby Yoda. It's not Yoda. It's the child, if you prefer. It's of Yoda species, but I will be calling him Baby Yoda. So, and we can see here in this scene that the Mando and Baby Yoda have a connection. It's right there from the start. You can see it. You can feel it. And he ends up having to shoot and kill IG-11 from to save Baby Yoda, because IG-11 was going to kill Baby Yoda. And then we move on to Episode 2, which I thought Episode 1 was great. It was a good episode. Episode 2, a little slower, maybe not as good as the first episode, but, it picks up. He has Baby Yoda now. Mando's ship gets jacked by the Jawas, and there's a nice little battle with them. And then, he takes Baby Yoda back to Quill, and Quill tells him they got to trade with the Jawas to get his stuff back, and he doesn't like that, but he does. And we get some cuteness from Baby Yoda eating a frog. And so Quill, Baby Yoda, and Mando go to the Jawas. They make a deal. The Jawas want this egg. So Mando goes to this cave, and he ends up battling a Mudhorn, and he's losing the battle pretty well. And then we get this another big reveal that Baby Yoda is force sensitive. He raises his hand, he lifts up the Mudhorn, saves Mando. Mando takes out the Mudhorn and gets the egg, and takes the egg back to the Jawas. Now the scene when the Jawas get the egg is probably my least favorite scene of this episode. I really didn't care for it when they get the egg, they chop it open, and they start eating it. That was probably the weakest part of this episode for me. I didn't care for that, but all in all, second episode was good. Was a good episode as well. Moving on to Episode 3, which I think is where the series really starts to pick up. Episode 3 is really good. It's directed by Deborah Chow, who will be directing and heading up the Kenobi series for Disney Plus, which, with her style directing, she directed this episode and Episode 7. I'm looking forward to the Kenobi series, and if she can keep up what she did in The Mandalorian, the work that she did in The Mandalorian, Kenobi's going to be really good. So we move on to episode 3. Mando takes Baby Yoda back to Werner Herzog, because he has a creed, he does his job, he delivers the bounty, and, you can tell, though, he doesn't really like it, but he does, and Werner Herzog character gives Mando, a huge stack of Beskir, and so he takes that back to, Mando takes that back to the underground tunnels where the Mandalorians have been hiding out, and, he gets new armor made from the Beskir armor, which is really cool. And he has a little tussle with one of the Mandalorians down there, but they're crew, they're together, so that works out. And then he goes back to Grief Cargo, and he's going to go out for more bounties, and he gets back to his ship. He's going to leave it all behind, but he can't stop thinking about Baby Yoda. So he knows what he did was wrong. So he goes back and he rescues Baby Yoda in this awesome scene where he takes out all these stormtroopers, breaks in. It was really cool, a really great scene. He taking out stormtroopers left and right, saves Baby Yoda, and when he gets Baby Yoda, he gets out of the building, and all the bounty hunters fobs start blinking because they know that the bounty is back on the table. So they all start coming after the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian has a big battle with them. It was really cool. It was really great action, great visuals. And then the Mandalorians show up and help save the Mando and Baby Yoda, and they get away, and it's a really cool scene. And then we move on to episodes 4 and 5, which I think are probably the weakest of the series. Not that they're bad or anything, they're just not as great as the other episodes, and they do have the weakest moments in the series. So we move on to episode 3, episode 4. Mando goes to this backwaters planet to hide out after everything that just went down, and it's basically your typical trope, Western type trope, where a cowboy shows up to this backwoods town where they're kind of getting picked on by this band, outlaw bandits, and they need help, and so Mando kind of helps them, and it's your classic tale. There's a little bit of a forced romance in this, isn't very good, but it is what it is. But we do get some really cool things that happen in this. We do get the introduction of Gina Carano's character of Cara Dune, which I think is a really cool character, and she plays the character very well, and I actually really liked her. So we get that, and we get some more cool Baby Yoda cute shots, which is cool, and we get to see this really cool scene with this AT-ST. It's got bright red eyes. It's at night, when they're battling. When Mando, Cara Dune, and the villagers are battling the bad guys, the former, whatever they are. Sorry, drawing a blank on who they were at the moment. But we get this big old visual of this AT-ST comes out of the woods. It's bright red eyes. It's very reminiscent of the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, which is kind of to be expected because this episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who is the daughter of Ron Howard, and she stars in the new Jurassic World movies. So I'm pretty sure that was an homage to that. And so they save the day. Mando and them save the day, but he and Baby Yoda has to get going because they can't lay low there after everything they just did, and Cara Dune is kind of laid claim to the planet. So they head off. Then we go to episode 5, which, like I said, episode 5 is probably the weakest episode, but it's really cool because Mando and Baby Yoda goes to Tatooine. So it was really cool to see Tatooine again and Mos Eisley. But in this we get some cringy acting from some of the characters in this. We're introduced to this faux Han Solo wannabe rookie bounty hunter who tries to act all cool and everything, and his acting's not that great, but he makes a deal with Mando to get his big time bounty, for his first job. He even give Mando the money, and they're going to be tracking down Ming-Na Wen's character. If you don't, Ming-Na Wen's from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's in this. She plays a character. Her character is, it's fine. She's just not really in it that much. But we also get Baby Yoda gets a babysitter in this, played by Amy Sedaris, which another bad acting job. Just wasn't working, but I guess I suppose they needed to do something with Baby Yoda because he can't always be going with the Mando, but it is always cool to see Baby Yoda. So Baby Yoda gets left with her, and the faux Han and Mando head out after Ming-Na Wen's character. A little skirmish happens. They get her. Then Mando has to go somewhere and do something real quick. I can't remember what he had to do. Like I said, episodes 4 and 5, are the weakest, so I can't recall them as well as some of the others. But Mando heads off, and then Ming-Na Wen's character tells the Phil Han Solo bounty hunter rookie guy that Mando's armor is worth a lot of money, and she heard tell of how Mando ran afoul with the Bounty Hunters Guild, and he might have this high-priced bounty, Baby Yoda, and if they work together, maybe they can get it, and he'd get more money that way. And so the rookie bounty hunter, he shoots Ming-Na Wen's character and is like, "No, I'm gonna do it myself." And he heads back towards the Mando ship because he's seen Baby Yoda earlier, so he knows what it is. And of course, Mando shows up, saves the day, kills the faux Han Solo wannabe bad actor, and saves Baby Yoda, and they fly away. But at the end of this episode, we get a little stinger, little after credit sting of, we go back to Ming-Na Wen's character laying in the desert, and we just see a pair of legs and a cape. A lot of people thought maybe that would be Boba Fett, because it's Tatooine. It doesn't really ever explain, but I'm pretty sure that it was probably the main bad guy of the series that will be introduced in episode 7 and 8. So we'll get to that in a minute. So next we move on to episode 6, which I thought was a really good episode. Definitely lifted back up the series. Mando's looking for work. He's still trying to lay low. So he goes to an old friend played by Mark Boone Jr., who is from Sons of Anarchy. And, he heads to him, and he's putting together a heist, which is led by the comedian Bill Burr, which is pretty cool to see Bill Burr in this. He played a really good role in this. He plays like this gunslinger, head of this gang that's gonna go on this heist, and they want to bring Mando along for a ship and everything. And Mando, he's got a little bit of distrust. He's been with some of the people that work in this crew before in the old days, and he's run afoul of them. But he needs something to do, so he goes with them. And their big heist is they're going to break a prisoner out of New Republic prisons. Mando's reluctant to do it, but they do it. We also get Clancy Brown in this, who plays a character, and Clancy Brown, he played Darth Maul's brother on the Clone Wars, and he does a lot of voices. He's from the Highlander, so it's cool to see him, Bill Burr, Mando, Mark Boone Jr. in this. And so they put together this heist. They go and they rescue the prisoner, but it was going to be double crossed because they lock Mando in the prisoner's cell after they get him out. But then Mando, he's the Mando. He breaks free, and he systematically takes out each member of the gang in almost like a horror movie style, which I thought was really cool. Really great visuals. I really liked that. Enjoyed that. That was really cool. And then from there, he catches up with the guy they broke out, and he finishes his job though. So he takes the guy back to Mark Boone Jr., drops him off, and as he's getting ready to leave and fly away, then Mark Boone Jr. tells him to kill Mando. But from earlier in the episode, we got a cameo from Matt Lanter, who, if you don't know, Matt Lanter plays the voice of Anakin in the Clone Wars. He plays a New Republic guard who ends up getting killed by the gang, and he has this like button that he pressed that calls the New Republic in to take care, for trouble. So that was pressed, and then as Mando's flying away from Mark Boone Jr. and them after dropping off the prisoner, and they're going to fire on him, the prisoner looks down and realizes that fob button thing is on him, and boom, we get 2 X-Wings show up, and one of them is piloted by Dave Filoni, and they basically blow them up and kill them, and Mando and Baby Yoda get away safely. And then we get episode 7, and it starts off with a message from Grief Karga telling Mando that he'll be welcome back into the Bounty Hunter Guild if he comes back, because the Empire has showed up, what remains of the Empire has showed up, and they've kind of taken over the place, and he needs his help, and if he comes back and help, all will be forgiven. So Mando, he decides he's going to do this because I guess maybe he's tired of running around, but he doesn't trust it, so he goes and puts together his own little team. He goes back and gets Cara Dune, he goes back and gets Quill, and this was also where we find out that Quill has fixed IG-11 and changed his programming, and he is no longer a threat to them, and he also makes IG-11 Baby Yoda's nurse. So now that Mando's got the team together, they head back. They meet Grief Karga, and he's got some bounty hunters with him. He tells them what they're gonna do, and then they start traveling, and it gets night, and then these flying dragon animal creatures show up and start attacking them, and takes out some of the blurgs and everything. And Grief Karga gets injured, and then we get this big reveal that Baby Yoda force heals him, and which honestly I think the force heal for Baby Yoda force healing him was kind of shoehorned in there because of the Rise of Skywalker, because they were going to do it in the Rise of Skywalker, and I think Disney wanted hey, look, Baby Yoda can do it, so I think that's why that was put in there. But anyways, moving on from that, the next day, Grief Karga, he kills the 2 bounty hunters that was with him and tells Mando that it was all a trap, and that after what happened last night with Baby Yoda and everything, he couldn't go through with it, and so they come up with a plan to trick Werner Herzog's character and take them all out and get their town back. So they send Baby Yoda off with Quill back to the ship, and Cara Dune and Mando and Grief Karga head into town. They go into the bar. They meet Werner Herzog there, and he gets a call, and he answers the phone, and he tells them that they're there, and then boom, he gets killed, and then all these troopers show up surrounding the place, and then Gus from Breaking Bad flies in. He's playing another villain. He's playing Moff Gideon, and he looks to be the bad guy, which I also think he was probably the guy that was standing over Ming-Na Wen's character in episode 5, but you never know, maybe we'll get Boba Fett. So that was the end of episode 7, which I thought was really good, and then we move on to episode 8, the season finale. It starts off with the which I forgot to mention in the last episode, Amanda's calling on Quill to make sure Baby Yoda's okay, and it cuts to Quill. Quill's laying down on the ground, and he's been killed, and these 2 troopers on speeder bikes swoop by, pick up Baby Yoda, and drive away. And then the next episode, the finale, season 8, episode 8, starts with this 2 troopers just sitting there waiting to bring Baby Yoda in, shooting a crap with one another, punching Baby Yoda, which that was ridiculous. I can't believe they punched Baby Yoda. But this scene, I really like this scene. Not because they punched Baby Yoda, because it's probably one of the most realistic scenes I've ever seen in Star Wars before. Just these 2 guys shooting a crap, having this normal everyday conversation. And, they are bad guys, so yeah, they're doing bad things. They punching Baby Yoda, which I did not like. I thought that was wrong. But it was very realistic, and then they pull out their guns and they start trying to shoot at this thing on the ground, and they keep missing it. Running jokes, stormtroopers can't hit anything. But, I thought it was a really good scene. And then IG-11 shows up, takes him out, saves Baby Yoda, puts him on a speeder bike, and drives into town and gets some cute shots of Baby Yoda on the speeder bike smiling. He drives in, he starts blowing up all these stormtroopers left and right. And, Mando and Cara Dune and Grief Karga come out. They start helping him. They start fighting these stormtroopers and everything. But they start to get overrun, and they go back in to the bar, and they're in there. Mando got hurt, then he got blown up, and he fell on his head. And so they go in, and IG-11 opens up the sewer gates because they're going to go into the sewer tunnels to get to the Mandalorians. And but Mando said he can't go because he's hurt too bad and he's bleeding from his head. And so he sends Baby Yoda, Cara Dune, Grief Karga down there. And this is where we get the big reveal of Mando takes his helmet off because he won't take his helmet off. Their code, they don't take their helmet off to no living thing. And then IG-11 informs him that he's not a living thing. He's a droid. So he takes his helmet off. We get to see Pedro Pascal for the first time. IG-11 fixes him. They go down in the tunnels. They go down through the tunnels. They come to where the Mandalorians were hiding out, and you just see a pile of Mandalorian helmets, and it looks like they've all been wiped out and killed after the big battle, when Empire came back, after the big battle when Mando and Yoda escaped. And then we see the head of the clan, the woman who we've seen previously in the first couple episodes, who made Mando's armor. She's there. She tells him everything that happens. She makes Mando his new crest of the Mudhorn because he has finally earned it. And she also tells him that he is now bonded with Baby Yoda. He is now a foundling, and it's either he teaches Baby Yoda the creed of the Mandalorian, or he has to deliver him back to his homeworld to his species, which we've never seen Yoda species before or his homeworld. That is really interesting. I'm looking forward to that, and I hope they don't mess it up, because that would be really, really cool to learn more about a Yoda species in his homeworld. So that sets up season 2, and then she tells him to go downriver. There's like a a lava river, so they all head that way, and these stormtroopers come in, and we get to see the leader of Mando's clan. She kicks these stormtroopers' butt in a really cool, awesome scene. And this episode 7 before was directed by Deborah Chow, which was really good. And this episode was directed by Takati Wadi. I'm not really sure how to say his name. Who directed Thor? Who directed the new Thor movies? Which I think he did a pretty good job in this. And it is what it is with him. So we get this, and they go down the lava river, and IG-11 tells him that there's a bunch of stormtroopers at the end of the cave where they're going to be coming out of, and the only way to do it is if he self-destructs. So he goes out there, self-destructs, blows them all up, and as they go out, here comes Moff Gideon and his TIE fighter swinging by, and he tries to shoot them, and he misses and come back around. And by now, also, the head of Mando's clan gave him a jetpack. So as he's swinging as Moff Gideon's swinging to come back around because he missed, Mando's like he's not going to miss again. He puts on the jetpack and he flies up there. He goes up there. He has a battle a little bit with the X-wing, and he blows it up and he blows it down. And Mando and them save the day, and Mando and Baby Yoda head off to find his homeworld and have adventures. And Cara Dune stays with Grief Karga and to help out with the Bounty Hunter Guild, and they've all part friends. Then we get this final shot of Moff Gideon's TIE fighter, and we see a black lightsaber blade shoot out through the side of it and cuts it open. And Moff Gideon is still alive. He stands up on the TIE fighter in a beautiful shot, holding the dark saber, which is awesome. I have not seen Rebels, but I have watched Star Wars Clone Wars, so I know about the Darksaber, and then Darth Maul had it last, so I don't know what happened to it after that. I've never watched Rebels, so you guys can fill me in on that down below in the comments. But it's so cool to see that in live action, and to have this set up for Season 2. As I said, overall, I really, really enjoyed Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Can't wait for Season 2. I'm looking forward to it. It comes out in fall 2020, and I thank you guys for watching. Please like, dislike if you did not like the video. Share the video if you want to. Please comment below. Did you like The Mandalorian? Were you impressed with it? Did you like the casting? Are you excited for Season 2? I really want to know. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please follow me on Twitter at FanZcene. Check out my Teespring if you want to become a fellow and buy some FanZcene merch. Plug there. And, I appreciate it. Please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and Godspeed. This is the way. Baby Yoda.